Howdy, folks. Welcome back. Sorry, Russ was at the what was it? What's it called again? The
USHL Fall Classic.
Yeah, the fall. So there's like what 20 games over 4 or 5
4 games a day over a 5-day period. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's obscene. It's I mean, hey, for hockey junkies, it's fantastic. So, but we have a lot of news to catch up on, and we will start with the pre-show. Go ahead, Russ.
So let's talk about Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons.
Yes.
So he just got voted into their Ring of Honor, and that's fine. You own the team, you could do that. And as a nod to the fans for their loyal support, he gave them hot dogs, potato chips, and soda. That was their gift
for free.
For free. I just did the math. Even if he did that for everyone in the stadium, what could it be at $10 cost most? Not stadium prices, because it's not what it cost him, right? So that would be $710,000. He's worth $9.2 billion. You think he could have just upgraded the food a little bit instead of that? Like, come on, man. Seriously.
Well, we're talking about people in Atlanta. It's not like they're gonna like go for like filet mignon or something like that. But I get the point. It's like
because I mean, it's not like you've ever brought them a Super Bowl.
Well, close. But if you can hold on to a 28-3 lead,
right? But you haven't. So do better.
Yeah, I thought that was no. The funny thing was, and I may because I don't watch halftime. I don't watch halftime of the Super Bowl, let alone halftime of a Sunday night game. But from what I understood, he introduced himself to the Ring of Honor. They didn't have somebody like Right.
They didn't pay somebody to talk.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They didn't have like the announcer. The PA announcer, he's like, "Hi, I'm Arthur Blank, and I'd like to welcome Arthur Blank to the Ring of Honor."
All right, well, look, I have an announcement to make.
Yes.
Starting today, for the first ever class of the Sportsology Hall of Fame, because we've been around since 2000, I nominate myself. So I will be the first one in, and I'm not going to give a speech, and that's it. So I'm going to put that on the website. I am the first one. I beat out everybody.
Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to eject Shane Malloy from the Sportsology Hall of Fame.
I mean, are you trying to tell me he should be in the Ring of Honor before, like, I don't know, Steve Bartkowski?
Tony Gonzalez?
No, I don't know. Did Gonzalez play for Atlanta?
Yeah.
I remember him with other teams. I don't remember him with Atlanta. I don't know.
No, isn't that? No, he played a lot with Kansas City, but he
played. Yeah, he's known more for them. But I mean, who's the all-time leading passer? I mean, it's what's his name?
Jeff
the guy from Boston College.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. He's their all-time. So is he in there?
I don't know. I sure as hell don't believe that Eugene Robinson is in the.
No, he's not in there. Hold on. Let's look at this. Falcons Ring of Honor. Let's see who's in there.
He blew away all the competition.
Clearly, there was no vote. And by the way, it was Lay's potato chips. Like, you couldn't give an upgraded potato chip.
You couldn't spring for Ruffles?
Kettle chips. They were the basic Lays.
Cheaper.
All right.
Ruffles have ridges.
Todd McClure was the last one. Roddy White. I like Roddy White. He was good. Deion Sanders, fine. Gerald Riggs, fine. Warwick Dunn.
Warwick Dunn, really?
Yeah, that's kind of a fringe one, but he's a great guy. He built a lot of houses for people.
Yeah, okay.
Claude Humphrey. I don't remember him.
Yeah, he was familiar, but
Mike Ken. Offensive tackle, I don't remember. Jeff Van Note, don't remember.
Yeah.
Steve Bartkowski, 2004. Okay. All right.
Yes, Jeff Van Note was a center, I believe.
Okay. Tommy Nobis, don't remember him. Jesse Tuggle, I remember. And William Andrews. I mean, seems like they're missing some guys. That's not enough.
Yeah. Eugene Robinson. So So just let
Julio Jones. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Cluche. That's who they're missing. Arthur Blank beat out Julio Jones, but he's still playing.
But he left.
He's still playing.
He left. So I bet you it'll be a while before he makes it.
Yeah. They won't give out any free anything.
Just a baseball update. Right now it appears that the Yankees are going to have, as Anna climbs the back of something here. What is she doing?
She's just wild. She's just, I don't know what she's up to. She's just on
it looked like she was climbing under your head.
I know.
The Yankees appear to be in a very good position to lock up first place in the AL, which I'm apologize for struggling with the baseball setup for the playoffs because they've changed it so many friggin' times. Isn't it like the first and second teams they get the bye of the first round?
Only the team with the best record in the league. They're the only one that gets a bye from each league. Okay, so the Yankees right now, I think they're a game or a game and a half up on Cleveland. They're gonna win. They're gonna win the AL East. They're like 4 games up on Baltimore, but they have a chance. I mean, we're only talking about a week left to go in the regular season. So I mean, the Mets are 2 games out. I'm hopeful, but they still have to play the Braves for 3 and the Brewers. Imagine if the Brewers could knock out the Mets because they get back their old GM or old baseball of operations guy, David Stearns. Like, that would be a story, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the standings here, and we're going to do about a half an hour today because I've got to get to the arena because the Sabres, unfortunately, decided to move up their game from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m.
They're a very important game.
Yeah, because they're very important. Yeah, a very important. No. Let's see standings here in the major leagues right now, league-wise. The Yankees are. Oh, okay. Sorry. Cleveland has slipped on the weekend. They're now 2.5 games up with 6 games to go. So they've got first spot locked pretty much. Yeah. The Dodgers are a game up on the Phillies for top spot in the NL.
Yeah, the Mets put a hurting on the Phillies. They won 3 out of 4.
Yeah, and right now the Mets are they're tied with Arizona. And they're 2 games up on Atlanta. So they're 2 games up. They're 2 games up on a playoff spot right now, right?
I understand that, Mike, but you remember Tom Glavine and that team that choked it away at the end? It happened.
Are they playing the Miami Marlins the last series?
They're playing 3 against the Braves where they get swept.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. They need to win. They need to win 1 game. So at least
they need to win 2 in that series, if you ask me.
Yes. Okay. But all right, let's get started. Hello, Hockey World. Today is Monday, September 23rd, 2024.
I'm Russ Cohen from NHLDraftBuzz.com and Sportsology.com.
And I'm Michael Agello, and this is the Hockey Buzzcast here on HockeyBuzz.com.
I have one surprise story, so you let me know when you want it.
Oh, let's start with it.
Okay. The surprise story is, and this is a really nice thing, Jackie Spiegel tweeted this out.
Yes, I agree.
John Tortorella invited Guy Gaudreaus, Johnny's father, who, like I said, ran Hollydale Rink and has been a coach for many leagues, to run practice today for the Flyers. That's really nice. Yeah,
that is. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, obviously, he's probably in the midst of. I mean, you've lost 2 sons. I can't even imagine what that guy is going through right now. And talk about the most heartbreaking thing of the whole thing, and maybe you can look at it as a positive, was that Johnny's wife or was it Johnny's wife or Matthew's wife? It was Matthew's wife at the funeral announced that she was. No, I thought it was Johnny's wife who was announced that she was having a third child.
Oh, maybe it is. I thought it was Matthew's.
It was Johnny's, and Matthews is already pregnant, and Johnny's
That's
wife.
What it was. Okay.
And Johnny's wife found out that she was pregnant.
Right.
So it's like, but anyway, so let's get to the hockey news. Now, I'll start with this because there has to be a level of concern going on with the Vancouver Canucks. The goaltending situation where Thatcher Demko basically said, I'm on my way back, but I don't know how long it's going to take me. And Artur Svilov's I think it was a knee injury. He's out for a while. So it's so bad, and I'm not saying this guy's a bad goaltender, but it's so bad that they had to go out and sign Kevin Lankinen. This is a tough division. The Western Conference. I mean, could they get away with a couple months of playing Lankinen, and if Svilovs comes back, yeah, and get into the playoffs? Sure. But it's not a great position to start the season with, where you're going to be relying on Kevin Lankinen to be your number one.
No, I mean, look, I don't think Demko will be out long. I think they're just trying to strengthen an already bad knee.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's all they're trying to do, and they'll limit his games, and he'll play as many as he can in the playoffs. So, yeah, maybe the first month they have to get through without him. But Svilovs, I think, will be back soon.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, they can get by. But they have to, you know how it is. They just got to play 500 hockey, which 500 in hockey is less than 500 in real life. So, right. That's what they got to do.
Get the loser points. Make sure you stay within range. And then once everybody's healthy, yes, that's what they have to do. Now we expected when camp started, and camp started last Wednesday, that a lot of these players leading up to the beginning of training camp would sign the RFAs that were holding out, and not really holding out, but they weren't signed, that they would come in, and a bunch of them did. Dawson Mercer signed a 3-year deal at $4 million per. Thomas Harley with the Dallas Stars was a 2-year deal at $4 million. Those guys in those situations, both of those situations, the team didn't have a ton of cap space, and at least in the Dallas situation, you've got a lot of money coming off the books in a year or two, so it made sense for Harley.
They're going to get hit hard with Harley.
Yes, especially he puts together another year like he did.
Yeah, so that one's going to hurt, even with Ben coming off the books. I don't know if Ben and Sagan come off the same time. I haven't looked.
I think Ben comes off next year, and Sagan's got 2 more years.
Right. So I mean, with Ben off the books, I mean, what's Ben making? 9.5.
Going
to be the same money.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
they're not going to save anything.
No. It's just clearing out one for the other. I mean, you're hoping that after this long-term deal that maybe Ben, because Ben has actually had a resurgence in the last couple of years, that maybe he comes back and signs a deal for, like the Jason Spezza deal. He signs for $1 million or something like that. State if he wants to keep playing for the team that he's always played for. But yeah, Harley's going to get paid. He's going to get. Now, do I think he's going to get? Here's where, and we're going to go down this road, folks. Miro Heiskanen, I believe, is 9.5. I can't see Jim Nill paying Thomas Harley more than Heiskanen. So they probably have sort of an unofficial. Yeah, Heiskanen's 8.45.
Yeah, then I guess he's getting 8.3.
So maybe he gets 8.425, but he's not going to get paid more than Heiskanen.
No. All right. So that's the weirdness now. But that's not terrible for Harley, because he's not really going to be worth truly a 9 or a 10, really.
No, unless he puts together another big year. If he scores 16, 17 goals and the amount of points that he did last year, then you're gonna be paying in that stratosphere. Now they also signed Esa Lindell on I think it was a 5-year deal at 5.25. No, sorry, 5.8. No, sorry. He's 5.8 this year, 5-year extension starting next year at 5.25. He's 30 years old. So for the type of defenseman he is, he's more of a defensive defenseman. That's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal for him. Not a bad deal for the Stars.
It's not a bad deal. And I don't know what Anna's doing here. Come on, time to come off. I can't. I got to reach behind me.
We're taking an Anna pause here, folks.
Yeah. No, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, it's amazing, though, how these salaries are getting. We're going to be at the point, again, I go back to, I remember looking it up, and I want to say, when the Flyers and Rangers and Leafs were spending ridiculous money, they were spending 90-something million. And we're going to be right back there soon.
Right. Well, yeah, they were spending 90-something million when there was no cap. And when Bobby Holik was making 9.5, and I think Sundin was making 9, and yes. But the league is more profitable now. So yeah, eventually you're going to get. Remember, I think they started with the cap was what, 38.
Yeah, it went from
it was something like that. So yeah.
Some teams were spending 90, and then it went to 38. So yes, there's prosperity involved here, but there is going to be a point. I feel like, just me personally, we're not at this point in the NHL yet. But right now, not every NFL quarterback is worth 30, 40 million. Sorry. No. In fact, if you show me the list, I'll tell you 3 or 4 that might be worth it.
Especially if your name is Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Okay. Other RFAs that came in, Peyton Krebs finally signed with the Sabres. Now, there was a report that the Sabres, that there was interest, and maybe the Sabres were going to trade him, and then finally they got the deal done, a 2-year deal at $1.45 million. Funny thing is, it's I don't know. If he's a fourth liner, if he's the 13th forward, it almost they got the deal done to get the deal done, and now
now he's got a known salary in case they do want to trade him. That helps too. Look, he's kind of getting a raw deal there. I really feel that, and I don't know now what he can do, Mike, because he doesn't get to play enough in where he should be playing to see the kind of talent he has. He's not a fourth liner. So, I don't know what he is anymore because of what's happened with the Sabres. That's why he needs to change the scenery.
He's not a fourth liner, but that's where he's probably, because right now, the way it looks, J.J. Peterka is going to slot in on the top line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck.
Okay.
Zach Benson is going to get the first crack at the Jeff Skinner spot, playing in the top 6 with Dylan Cousins and Jack Quinn. Your third line looks to be Ryan McLeod centering Jordan Greenway and Jason Zucker. That's your checking line. And the fourth line is any 4 of Krebs, Beck Malenstein, Nicholas Aube-Kubel, and Sam Lafferty. So it could be mix and match. It could be the fact that, whoever's playing better. But, yeah, I don't know if it's beneficial. This is a guy who a lot of people thought had not top-end, top-line talent, but thought he had more talent than he does, and he didn't score a ton last year. And I don't know if he's going to realize his full potential playing part-time with the Sabres, but we'll see.
So I watched that game. I was in Buffalo Wild Wings, and we were watching some things. And the game got out of hand with fights, and they really shouldn't let Samuelson fight much because of his injury history. But he was knocking some guys around too.
Or Zach Benson, who's not.
Or Zach Benson, who was fighting, which is a bad idea, but shows his feistiness. But here's the thing: after that game, and that game was a gong show, I noticed a tweet from the Penguins staff from their social media saying, "Hey, Jesse Puljujarvi got a hat trick." And it's can we not celebrate a preseason hat trick? Please? Well, nobody will remember. Nobody.
Yeah, and Peterka had a hat trick for the Sabres, and I'm sure the Sabres media did the same thing. And, Peterka has a lot of talent. But
it's okay to say a guy got a hat trick, but don't say, he's back or whatever they do.
I'll just say this. The Penguins that played were not the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Right.
They played almost the same lineup that they played in a prospect challenge game earlier in the week. So the fact that Puljujarvi and Ryan Graves, I think, were the only NHLers in that lineup. And I'll say this. That lineup lost 7-3 and gave up 6 goals in 6 minutes. The lineup that the Ottawa/Belleville Senators played against Toronto won over a very representative Leaf lineup at home. But the Leafs were comatose for the first 2 periods and then only awakened in the third. So we'll talk about the Leafs in a second. But just the RFA.
Hold on. So Esmir's asking, is Coolidge making the team? So Mike, you can go first and then I'll give my narrative.
Well, we won't know for a couple weeks because the Sabres are going to Europe, and I believe they're allowed to carry a taxi squad. So I think he's going to go over to Europe with them. Whether he plays in the openers in Prague and he's from Czechia, he might get a chance to. But I don't know. It depends on. He played well at the Prospects Challenge. He was barely noticeable against Pittsburgh. It doesn't behoove him to make the team as a third or fourth liner. So that means either he's going to make the second line or he's going to be in Rochester. And if I had to bet, he's going to be in Rochester.
Yeah, he should be in Rochester. He had 45 points last year. Like, that's not enough in the AHL to say, yes, you're ready for the NHL guy. Now, I understand, like you said, with that prospect challenge. Remember, Jonathan Bernier played his first NHL game for the Kings in Europe, in England, and then he got sent right down.
Right.
So,
So, now the interesting contracts that were signed, and sympathies to Arthur Kaliev, who signed a 1-year deal with the Kings and promptly went out and got hurt. And I don't know if it was in practice or if it was in a game, but
I think he was in a game, but I'm not. No. Actually, I think I saw practice now. Now I'm confused. I think it was practice. I'll look it up.
Yeah, but he's out indefinitely. I think it was a broken clavicle. So yeah, so I mean that sucks. And Philip Tomasino signed a 1-year deal too. But the two contracts that, well, there are three that are ridiculous and for different reasons. The first are the dual contracts that Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider signed with Detroit. Seider, who I think in an NHL,
it was in camp for Kaliev.
Okay. Seider in a league where Zach Werenski is making 9.5, and Darnell Nurse is making over 9, and Seth Jones is making 9. He's as good or better than them. And he got 8.55. Why? Because the Detroit Red Wings have a salary structure, and God forbid nobody can make more than Dylan Larkin. So
nope, not a lot.
So Lucas Raymond makes low 8s. Moritz Seider makes 8.55. So you keep two players. Now, if they had signed bridge deals, or if they'd signed 4-year deals and they made that, then, okay, they stuck with the salary structure and they're being paid less than Larkin. But they also had the benefit of turning free agent, least restricted or unrestricted at a younger age. But no, they got that 8-year deal. So they're going to be locked up until like their late 20s. At a salary that probably in the second half of this deal is going to be patently absurd. So that pisses me off.
Yeah, that's the charge of playing, the cost of playing in Detroit with Steve Yzerman, because he's kind of freezing salaries at that. So it's your choice, take it or leave it.
Yeah. So I think that's ridiculous. And I'll use your team as an example and the team that I cover as an example. Igor Shesterkin is going to be the highest paid goaltender in the NHL. He's probably going to make north of 11 million, maybe 12. Well, if Jan was on, he would probably say he shouldn't, but No,
but he will. He'll make 11.5, 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If he was playing under Yzerman, no, he's not going to make that. Okay. Well, then he would go unrestricted free agent. The price for Shesterkin in New York is inflated. The price for William Nylander in Toronto is inflated. The price for some of these other players in big markets are inflated. But in Detroit's not exactly a small market.
No. But they act like a small market now while they're not making the playoffs.
Right. Now, the refreshing thing here is, until we find out what the number is the Jeremy Swayman situation with the Bruins. Because I'm sorry, Boston, and all apologies to Boston Bruin fans out there. You've gotten away with this for years, where you pay top-end talent less than they should get because we have to conform because we're the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's over with. Bergeron took less money. Marchand took less money. Chara took less money. Krejci took less money. Tuukka Rask took less money. Only now, McAvoy's making more. Pasternak's making more. Now, can you dispute? Do you think that Jeremy Swayman is one of the best 5 or 6 goaltenders in the league? Has he established?
No.
Right. Okay. Then sign a bridge deal.
But and I don't blame him.
Right, and that might be the compromise. But he doesn't want a bridge deal. He wants an 8-year deal. Right. Okay. Well, then you're going to have to pay him. That's the calculation here. What do you think he's going to be? And what do you? But if you're rolling the dice, then you're going to have to pay him probably $9.5 to $10 million.
They're going to pay him right in between that, and they're going to do it right when the season starts because they're going to look at their goaltending situation, and someone's going to say, we can't go into the season like this.
Yeah, right now your goaltending is Joonas Korpisalo and Brandon Bussey, and you've PTO'd Kazimir Kaskasuo. So
they can't go into the season like that.
Yeah, they might be able to get away with it for a little while because they're a good defensive team, and Korpisalo is a decent goaltender, but he's Ottawa had to pay Boston to take him off their hands, by shaving some of his salary. So yeah, it's. Let's just say this: we'll wait for what Swayman's going to get. I seriously doubt this is going to go into the regular season, but it might if they're loggerheads and basically, Swayman is not going to take less than 9, and they keep, like Naz 26 in the chat is like 7 years at $9 million per. I think that's a compromise. It's one less year, and you're not paying him top goaltender money, and the cap is going up.
He's not going to do it. He will not take 7 years.
Sweeney or Swayman?
Swayman.
So Swayman wants the 8.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay.
That's my guess. I do want to mention one thing too, Mike, because I literally ran into this guy at the Fall Classic. Alexander Karmanov. He is a future Penn State commit, but I don't even say it much anymore because these guys now, if you commit to one school, you could just, go there for a year, not like what you're doing, and go in the transfer portal.
This guy is a monster.
He's 7 feet tall.
But okay.
He's a legit 7 feet. I know it said 6'11" when EP reported it months ago, but now it's 7.
But okay, is he a 7-foot Boris Vlahovic, or is this a guy who could be?
No, Boris Vlahovic was never 7 foot for one thing, and it took him a while.
No. What I'm saying is, remember, okay, Chara was 6'9", and Chara early in his career was not good.
No, this guy's a better skater than Chara ever was.
But then Chara
at that age.
Chara developed. He got better. He got to be a better skater, and then he used his size to his advantage, and he's a Hall of Famer. But
I have not seen him in a game. I've watched a little bit of video, and he could skate. Can he do the rest? I don't know yet. Right. But I'd give him a shot.
Yeah. He bears watching, and let's just say in this league where everybody is salivating over size, this guy could. Pulkkinen, the kid that I liked, who I was sort of projecting to the Leafs, was what, 6'7"?
Yeah. He's an 08, so he's a next year's draft pick, and teams are already, chatting with him.
Yeah. So now, okay. I will yield to your expertise when it comes to how good this player is, and based on the stats that he put up last year in a limited window, I think he's a very good player. But I think that the deal that the Utah Hockey Club signed with Dylan Guenther is troubling. Troubling because, okay, last year, 2 years ago, he played 33 games and he had 6 goals.
Right.
Last year, he played 45 games. I think that was because of injury.
It was.
And he had 18 goals in 45 games, which if you average it out to a 82-game season is over 30 goals.
Right.
He was a top 10 draft pick. He's got a lot of talent.
He does.
They signed him to an 8-year deal at $7.1 million based on a half a year.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's based on more than that. Like, I understand it's a half a year at the NHL level, If you go back and see what he did with the Oil Kings, and last year, his shooting percentage was 14.9%. So it wasn't anything like Carlson, or and I'm talking about William Carlson, where it was like 27 or 24. It's a reasonable one. And so I do think he'll get 30 goals at the NHL level. Remember, 6 of them, was it 6? Hold on. Now I lost the game-winning stat. But he's also strong. So it's not, he's 6'1", he's strong. 8 of his goals were even strength, 9 on the power play. Like, he is 4 of them were game winners. Thank you. So he is a real talent. And so would I take this risk? Yes. I don't count the year before because, that Arizona team was a disaster.
And he's 21 years old. So I mean, that's we'll bring Jan on for the last few minutes of the show. Jan, we're not doing a full 60 minutes because I have to head to the rink. But we're talking about the Dylan Guenther contract, and I said that this is potentially troubling for a lot of NHL teams. Like, for example, I'll just use the 2 teams that I cover. One who has plenty of cap space to operate under, and the other one who doesn't. JJ Peterka scored 28 goals last year. He's entering the final year of his ELC. He's going to be playing on the top line with Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. He scores 35 goals. He's going to be asking for $8 million a year. And I mean, he'd be justified based on the comparable to a Dylan Guenther who scored 18 goals in 45 games and got paid 7. I mean, it's always comparables. This league operates on comparables, and only general managers like Steve Yzerman, who hold players' feet to the fire, don't yield to comparables.
It's hard to argue. I mean, look, the one thing I tweeted out right away was Alexis Lafreniere is reveling in the contracts that have been signed lately. I mean,
there you go.
It's kind of hard. Look, he won't have the power play numbers just because unless he gets moved to PP1, it's not going to happen. But if he has a little bit of an uptick on the year he had last year, where he goes 30 plus after going 28 and 29 last year, he's going to be $8 million per year, and they should be giving it to him. But with trying to re-sign Igor and Keandre Miller being a restricted free agent and others, sooner or later you're going to have a cap crunch. Now the cap is going to rise, but as we all know, it's not like it's rising 30% every year, right? You're getting $3 to $4 million per year on basically, close to 80 to 90 million is nice, but the $4 to $5 million isn't going to make up when everybody else wants $7 or $8 million per contract.
Yeah, that is a guarantee that this is Trouba's last year because they will.
Yeah, he's pretty much all but said it, to start the season. So that is a guarantee. But I guess, like I said, this Dylan Guenther contract, I would make every time.
Yeah, no, the Toronto example, and he was asked about wanting to stay in Toronto, and he wants to stay in Toronto. He wants to sign long term. His best buddy now is Austin Matthews because they're fellow Arizonans. Is Matthew Nyes, and Matthew Nyes, full year last year, had 15 goals, played really well in the playoffs. He's going to play on the top line with Matthews and Marner. Okay, what if he scores 30 goals? Then he's up as a restricted free agent. Now, Pierre LeBrun wrote a piece today saying, he talked to, and this is self-serving, Jan, agents out there are saying, oh boy, now that Dylan Holloway and Phil Broberg signed offer sheets, you're going to see a whole slew of offer sheets. Bull crap. I mean, it's like you may see 1 or 2, but it's not going to be
I think you'll see an uptick. I don't think you'll see a raft of them signed, but I do think the spigot has been opened a little bit after years where it was a rarity. I don't think it's be a commonality, but I don't think it's going to be one where you're going to wait years or you're going to see something like the Aho deal where everybody knew was going to get matched, right? And look, Edmonton did kind of free up enough money where they probably could have re-signed at least one, if not both of them. They just opted against it after the contracts were signed for whatever reason. Look, they need help on D. Broberg would have helped. Holloway is going to fit in very nicely in St. Louis, in my opinion. They just decided that they didn't want it.
The brilliance of the Edmonton Oilers, Russ, is they cleared the cap space to be able to match the contracts, and then they didn't match the contracts.
I know, but look, I mean, again, you could look at the Rangers and say, yeah, they cleared cap space with Buchnevich. How'd that work out? And you could say with the Islanders, they cleared cap space with Devin Taves. How'd that work out? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to clear cap space with the right player. If you do it with the wrong player, it comes back and haunts you, and those two players are haunting their old franchise.
Well, now, I mean, Buchnevich should have been re-signed. You and I both know he should have been re-signed. And even if you weren't going to re-sign him, I'm starting Sammy Blais in a second-round pick was an epic failure by Chris Drury.
Yes.
Yes, it was. Now, I find it hilarious and not surprising, but hilarious that fan bases react so vehemently to one exhibition game, positively and negatively. Like, okay, now Jesse Puljujarvi is going to score 40 goals for the Penguins because he scored a hat trick in the exhibition opener. Or JJ Peterka, I think, is going to score a bunch of goals. He scored a bunch of goals last year and he scored a hat trick. Yeah, fine, okay. Max Pacioretty basically has a deal with the Leafs. The PTO was only so they didn't have any kind of cap ramifications right away that they're forced into a situation. And now like, oh my God, you got to sign him because he scored 2 goals against the Belleville Senators. I mean, he looked good. I think he's going to be on the roster, but cool the Jets for
Here's what he said. He basically said what every old player from every sport says. I'm in the best shape of my life. He didn't say those exact words, but he was like, oh, my God, I can't believe how great I feel. Right. Yeah. After preseason games, wait till you play any regular season games. Right. Come on. I mean, he's a nice guy. His playing days are past him.
The only thing that, and Chris Cuthbert said this on the broadcast, and I do buy into this a little bit. The last 2 years he spent rehabbing from the Achilles injuries. So, building up his legs, whatever you're doing when you're rehabbing. Are you working out like you would normally work out if you're completely healthy? No. This summer, he got through the regular season and the playoffs uninjured or unre-injured, and he was able to do his workouts, and that's why he's saying he's in the best shape of his career, or he's back to – now, he's not going to be back to what he was because he was a 30-goal scorer, Jan, and he's not going to be that. But if they can get 15 goals out of him, they're going to consider that a win.
He is a third-pairing guy, in my opinion, at this time.
Third-line guy.
It'll be at a cost-friendly contract, which is what they need. And there's no guarantee he's making it through the year either again. And I happen to like Pacioretty a lot, but given the injury history and given the decline in his play over time, even before that a little bit, right? He had definitely tailed off as he aged, which is not surprising. To expect anything more than 15 to 18 goals is probably a fallacy at this point in time.
Right. Now, Jan, I just want to get your feeling on this before we end the show, because I made my feelings known about the whole Detroit double contract, how they took less and they had to go under Dylan Larkin because the Red Wings had their own salary structure. And I am pleading the agent of Jeremy Swayman to soak the Boston Bruins for every last dollar they can get, because for years, all their players have been taking less because of the Boston Bruins thing. I'm sorry, these players deserve to make the most that they can, and teams like Toronto and the Rangers and Montreal and some of these other ones who have to pay through the nose for players because they're in the big markets. I'm sick and tired of the Bostons and the Detroits holding players' feet to the fire. Get what you can.
So I think they're two diametrically opposed. So in Boston, I think it's owner-driven because we know Jacobs is what Jacobs is. Yes. And in Boston and in Detroit, it's GM driven because that's just the mantra that Eisman have, which varies from what went on in Tampa because they didn't kind of have that same model and structure that kind of existed there. And look, we both, I think Raymond and Seider both took undervalue. Yes. Seider was probably a bit closer because he's about $500,000 per season or more than Raymond, though we all felt he could have easily broken $9 million, and especially with the cap rising, he would have expected to do so. In Boston, look, they kind of created their own issues here by trading Ullmark first, as we've discussed, right? Once you've done that, you have now basically said, Jeremy Swayman, you are pretty much our only guy and our number one guy. And we to a certain extent have to back up the Brinks truck and pay you accordingly. Now, if you still had Ullmark around, they'd have a harder time figuring that he was deserving of that contract because there was another guy willing to take 50, 60 games if he wasn't around. That doesn't exist anymore. So unless they're willing to pay him, and we've talked also, right, the longer he sits out, the longer it's going to take him potentially to get back in game shape, and the more of a likelihood that somebody's going to look. If you're in a goalie and you're not in the kind of stretching shape that you need to be in game shape, you come out and you tweak a groin or tweak a leg, that's not like a skater where you're out a couple of weeks. That's like months where you're out before you're back.
Sure. I mean, but yeah, I think they're going to miss him for, with all that said, like a month. But I got to say, he's a man of conviction. And the reason I say that is he's from Alaska. And anybody who I've ever heard of getting bar mitzvah, and he gets bar mitzvah outdoors, this guy is ready to, he's going to hold out. Like, if you could do that, you're tough. So I don't really think he's going to ever give in.
Am I wrong? The only Alaskan NHLers that I can think of off the top of my head were Scott Gomez and Joey Crabb.
Brandon Dubinsky.
Brandon, who's
also Ty Conklin, I think.
Okay. Yeah, but
Dubinsky, I'm pretty sure it's from Alaska.
Yeah. But so
Russ is fact checking me now, so
I'm just fact checking Ty Conklin myself, that's all. Yeah, Anchorage. Okay.
Anchors. Okay. All right. We will be back on Wednesday for another edition of the Hockey Buzzcast. We're going to be getting more into the swing of things now that Russ is back from his the Fall Classic tournament, more of a regular schedule, and the Sabres are going to Europe on Tuesday, and they'll be there for 2 weeks. Which it's going to be bizarre, Russ. It's like the entire they're bringing their entire NHL roster over there with the taxi squad. So basically, the Rochester Americans are going to be sacrificial lambs playing like Columbus and Pittsburgh, and I think Detroit. They'll be playing almost full NHL rosters, and it's going to be this AHL team that's playing against those teams.
I mean, I don't think those fans are going to be paying much for them. I mean, the season ticket holders have no choice, but.
They get in Buffalo. They get those tickets for free. They used to. In Toronto, if anybody who paid top dollar to see that atrocity for the first two periods, that was the third period was exciting, but that was bad. It was bad hockey. It really was. But anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday for another edition of the Hockey Buzzcast. For Jan Levine, for Russ Cohen, I'm Michael Agello. Thanks for watching, and remember, without the buzz, it's just hockey. Go Bills.